They're running dive. They will be running dive on this map. Alright. Dorado. Proof that dive still exists.
I believe for sure it was the 2 games, maybe even 3 games towards the end of stage 3. Yep. You wanted to have him fully rested, great mindset here going in.
I suddenly had like a boost in people watching. What happened? Did you guys finish a scrim or something?
Right now, so
I thought your scrim started at 7.
Stage 4, push towards those playoffs.
We can see the synergies now between the 2 pairs of tanks here. Yes, I get the reference. You know how many people tweet me asking me to make a Carpe Fish joke? Like, I haven't already tried it before. We get it.
Those observers, they're so sneaky back there.
Yeah, man, they're on the. Mate, I've seen some crazy angles. That
oh yeah, dive's really good on second point. First point, dive is quite good until the choke. Yeah, thanks for being here, but like seriously, why did all of you suddenly appear at the same time? What happened?
They know so much about the map.
I've been doing this since like 4 o'clock, so. Yeah, and they have been working quite well. Like, Poco and Fraggy are actually doing really... Poco and Fraggy, sorry. Sato and Hotbar have been doing really well. They ran, Fraggy and Poco on King's Row, and Poco's a good Zarya. Poco's a really good Zarya.
So this is the first time we're seeing a...
Team comps, let's have a look. We have... Widow, Tracer, Dive. Fun. So this pretty simple stuff here. This is most likely your dive team. 2-man dives. Note will sometimes accompany, but I've noticed that Note doesn't like leaving Neko alone too much, so I imagine they will be playing a bit more defensively. Mistakes on the Widow, so he's obviously trying to take the duels with Carpe, which he has not been doing well at. He's not been doing that well today. Carpe's just been all over him, and it's Carpe, like, you know, Carpe's a god Widow. I'd throw him up there with Pine, maybe better than Pine, depending if Pine had an off day. So this sort of composition is built around zoning and picks. You're waiting for your Tracer and your Widowmaker to sort of make an engagement happen. With the Widowmaker, your Tracer plays less with the Winston and tries to push people into locations that then the Winston can then jump in. It's more Tracer strikes first, then Winston comes in, instead of Winston and Tracer engage at the same time. So this is how you run this sort of composition. This is stage 3 meta. Every map that you can run on this, every map you can run this on, they run it on. On the other side, this is very similar. No, it's not. Never mind. Orisa. So it's tower. It's bunker comp, but instead of Diva, they're running a Brig. This is custom built for first point of this map. This has been custom built for first point. So as I just said before, dive is really good on this first bit until the choke. That is not a choke. How is that a choke? Anyway, until the choke, dive's really good on this point. What this is liable to be good for is while you're sitting up on this high ground area back here, if we can just go back a bit and see it. So up here. You put your Orisa shield here. Your Junkrat can spam from this spot here, or come back here. Your Widowmaker can get angles down there, over here, come over here. She can hook shot over this, or over here as well. She can also drop down into this area and get sightlines through here, and then hook back up to here. Alright, so Widowmaker's got a fair few, like, peaking locations she can come from. Whereas Mistakes, he has a few, but most of them revolve around coming to these high grounds here and the high ground back there. And these corners. And this corner over here. That's mostly what Mistakes is going to be using for sightlines. So Carpe has the added benefit of shooting behind a shield. Instead of running Diva here, what's most likely going to happen is they are just going to pound them with damage. So throw some shots at them, throw grenades at them, and just fire at them with Orisa and Zenyatta from up in this position as long as possible. The Brigitte is a larger deterrent than the Diva in this situation. So diving onto them is a bit scarier because they have the Brigitte there. So they can't really contest them up there. They've just got to push the payload to that choke as quickly as possible. Once they get to the choke, though, the Brigitte and the Orisa are hard to remove, especially if you have a Junkrat spamming in here. Carpe can sit up the back and just get some shots off on anyone trying to come up in this high area, while the Orisa just sits over here on the low ground. So this is built customly for this first point. As soon as they let them pass this first point, they will swap, because this will not be able to be used on second point. Alright, I give the advantage here to... Uprising haven't been doing well. But they do have Note back, like you said. So I'd probably give it to Fusion here, because Uprising will take a long time to figure out how to break this. And Uprising haven't been very good today at swapping and realizing what the enemy team's trying to do and countering that. They seem to want to run their own thing and they're not adapting.
Through this heavy shield composition.
Which is, to be fair, this is why Boston were so good in Stage 3. They were so good in Stage 3 because they were so stubborn. They knew what they were good at. They did something over and over and over. First stage, second stage. They just grinded that out until they were the best at it. And then Stage 3, when no one could compete with that strategy, they just kept doing it. But now they can't run that same strategy again because the meta's changed a bunch. And they're going to keep trying to do it. And it's not going to work. So I think that's a thing for their coaches to look at.
So this is the first time we're seeing a Brigitte used as a off-tank primarily. So they're going to be just having Sado play Orisa as your main tank and then Hotba playing...
Also, I think this match was before the Houston Outlaws and Spitfire game. So they're saying this is the first time we've seen her as an off-tank. Wait until the next match. She's used as the main tank. I really wish I hadn't have watched that one so I could see that one now and watch it for the first time on stream. Because that is so funny. Carpe getting info. Sorry. They fell back incredibly quickly. They're not even trying to hold that upper location. Using an emote so you can see around the corner.
So they're going to be just having Sado play Orisa as your main tank, and then Hotba playing Brigitte is kind of like
This is odd. I'm not sure why they're doing this. Possibly they could have set up here just to give Boombox and EQO some ult charge, which I'll tell you it worked with EQO.
Tank hybrid, kind of like how we imagined she would be. So you're still
I haven't set that up. I didn't expect anyone to actually give me bits. Can I be a partner? Well, I'll tell you what, if you guys keep watching me, then probably not. I don't know how long it takes to be a partner.
Able to play 2 DPS, you can still play 2 of your traditional supports, and then you have kind of a flex in terms of off-tank / support here for Hotba. You can do this because of the great have kind of a flex in terms of off-tank slash support here for Hotba. You can do this.
Did she get trapped?
You have kind of a flex in terms of off tank slash
Up here,
support
up here.
for Hotba. You can do this because of the.
I'm pretty sure that EQO had a trap up there and just destroyed Kellex with it. That's
great
brilliant.
shield time that Orisa provides.
Shield up time is good.
So yeah, this is what I'm talking about here. Like normally, you could just sort of push through this. Orisa's kind of weak when you just push past. Oh wait, looking at her HP.
You can do this.
Yep,
Because
yep,
of the
gets
great
trapped.
Shield time that Orisa provides.
Shield up.
It's 100. No. Was it 80 or 70 for the?
Time is good. I mean, her cooldown's relatively low. It's like, what, 10 seconds? 12 seconds?
And
It
then
might
also
be
you see,
70
Hotba
for a
just
trap.
swinging there. No, who's really
I used to
good
remember that
is
number.
the
Why have I
Tracer,
forgotten
right?
that?
She can just get behind the shield, put down a ton of damage.
That was important.
Orisa can't
I also used to be able to remember how much ult charge all the offense and defensive heroes got from every like damage they did. So like, I used to be able to tell you how much ult charge a fire would get from a direct hit and stuff like that, but I've forgotten all the numbers now.
You can't do that against a Brigitte, so you just have Hotba just
And I don't want this on shit quality anymore.
standing there, just swinging.
Her range is actually incredible. If you see a side
So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Normally you could just walk through this, but in this situation, with the Brigitte there, it's pretty scary to walk into that, especially if you're running dive. Like if a Winston jumps in, he's not jumping out. And something I see Brigittes do a lot, which they don't do in the Overwatch League, or I haven't seen it yet, is when somebody dives in and then like the Diva or the Winston dive in, the Brigitte won't stun them instantly. They will wait until their cooldown is almost off, then stun them. Because then you've got the extra few seconds that they would have used to escape, and they're stunned for that.
profile while she's swinging in third person, maybe we capture it for you.
There we go, that's much prettier.
And everything. And she cuts through shields, of course, so, you know, who knows what she'll hit. Maybe even a Sombra. You know, switch to a Sombra and she just donks it on the way through.
So if I was Uprising here, I would not be looking for that front line at all. I imagine that's where the dive is about to go, because you can see the Tracer and the Diva and stuff coming through here. But I would not be trying to take that front line fight at all. EQO is got Tyre. He's probably backing up into a room over here somewhere, and Tyre comes out and takes him out instantly.
He's our boss and Uprising trying to dive, but Gamsu's on his own here. The rest of the Uprising could get around and over those carts. So
EQO gets
kind of
picked,
on his own, but at least in the
but if we go back, you could probably see, so where's Winston? Try and watch Winston and see when he jumps.
You know, switch to a Sombra and she just donks it on the way through.
So Winston's used jump. Never mind, he uses stun right away.
Around and over those carts. So Gamsu was kind of isolated on his own, but at least in the kerfuffle, that was enough for EQO to get picked off. Now resurrected Hopper! Oh, he's keeping it spicy, isn't he?
And this is why Brigitte is scarier than a Diva.
Filthy combo. So we talk so much about the halt and the hook. What about halt plus shield bash, right? You get the person slowed into an area, you line it up, you shield bash, you stun them then in that.
Halt hook is a much scarier combo. He's talking about halt shield bash being scary. The good thing about halt hook is you can pull people from around corners and get to them. Halt shield bash doesn't really accomplish that.
Doesn't seem like anything to me.
Some pretty sick combos here.
Totally balanced, man.
Some pretty sick combos.
What are those changes?
Plus shield bash, right? You get the person slowed into an area, you line it up, you shield bash, you stun them then in that area.
And then we keep on the Diva. Okay, so this is why they set up here. They were expecting either a Reinhardt, or like were waiting for either a Reinhardt or an Orisa main tank offense. So this way,
Pretty sick combos coming out from Billy.
no, okay, they're still not doing it. Why do they keep setting up here? I must know.
Some pretty sick combos here. You shield bash, you stun them
Where's
in
Zenyatta?
that area.
Doesn't seem like anything to me.
Some pretty sick combos here.
Totally balanced.
I'm very confused by why they keep setting up here and then not utilizing it. They keep rotating there and then just dropping.
Still in the choke. Boston.
So, Philly are going to have to fall back now. They're going to have to defend from further back. Striker here can just fire uncontested. As I say, uncontested. He can fire down here pretty safely if he doesn't stand in line of sight there. And just deny this whole choke from being a safe place. He'll burn through that barrier pretty quickly. And I think D.Va is really underrated as a shield. What's the word? Barrier, whatever. Whatever. She's really good for the shield war. That's what I'm trying to say. Underrated for the shield war. Obviously, she's no Junkrat, but she is better than a Brigitte for the shield war.
Conundrum. How do we bust in now? So they have Gamsu switching over to the Orisa. Gamsu normally switches off Orisa as soon as he's able to do so. It's definitely not his preferred pick here, but it might be necessary to get them.
So and you see they all move back here because Striker can get the grenades in.
Well, you almost need Orisa because of obviously Sato playing Orisa, great shield uptime. Also, Orisa can just kind of churn through barriers. Same with EQO. If Tire gets in deep mistakes, able to take it out.
Worth a shot.
You need the Junkrat here, obviously, to deal with Hotba playing Brigitte.
That's right. It'll cause some problems now when push comes to shove.
Valk popped off. We've got sights up. So Carpe can't peek mistakes anymore. Also doesn't know where mistakes is. Boombox. If they get the res on Boombox, Hotbar can rally, and then Philly should be able to have this fight if they can wait out. If Carpe doesn't get picked off by mistakes from the shield break potential. Thank you, Lukey. So if she can survive that time, they should have the advantage because they have the trance coming in, they have the rally coming in, and they also have supercharger, which pretty much is an all or nothing. You either win the fight with a supercharger or you lose the fight with a supercharger. Like, there's no middle ground. There's no muddy, ooh, did we win or did we lose? It's just like, you are forcing people to actually go all or nothing if you use a supercharger. They got the res off, but too many people have... No, not too many. I really want them to make these smaller. These confuse me when I'm just glancing across.
Here's a rally, though. You're going to have the rally come out from Hotba, even though that EQO falls, so now you're going to give armor to a lot of the players. Carpe doesn't get any armor out of that. Why? Because Carpe is going on a tremendously long flank, as per the usual. Mistakes knows it's coming down.
Mistakes good Carpe. I'm not sure about that bomb, but whatever.
Soren coming, managed to deal with him, even without infrasight. See the hot by now, pressured down, not much you can do. Once you get behind a Brigitte, it can be tough, unless you 180s and shield bash and shoot, but that's another story. Mistakes actually removed there by EQO.
EQO, best sniper. Even on Junkrat, best sniper.
Definitely what they needed to get the job done.
Yeah, and then once you use the rally there, probably using the rally just to win that one.
Okay, so we've got the swaps over here for dive. I imagine EQO isn't going to swap yet, although the possibility is still there. However, he might stay on it, because I don't see him playing Tracer a lot. And you'd have to swap these guys both over, which they already done once in this series, where they swapped them over onto their different heroes. They might stay with this team comp. This is probably where they want to stay. And we've got Gamsu swapping over.
You're in a position where maybe you full hold them. You use the rally, you give it to as many people as you can, you give it your best shot, because you're going to change the composition up. You have Hotba play.
Widowmaker on this map seems to play the right side a lot more. Recently. In the last couple of weeks of Stage 3, they seem to play the right side a lot more.
Will go over to Winston.
That's why. Playing the left side over there is just dangerous. You can very easily be overwhelmed, and you don't have a lot of high ground to hook to for safety.
Carpe was busy trying to fire with mistakes. Striker capitalizes
Oi.
on 3 flaps in attention. Finds a shot. So Carpe's back in the fight again. Philadelphia, can they ask of Carpe a feat that he performed previously, or to emulate that? I don't know. That's a big...
Ultimate's coming in. DPS ult's close for both. support ults are looking better for Uprising. Tank ults are looking better for Uprising. So Uprising have the better ult economy here. It probably come down to, I'm assuming they're going to use Infosight and then Tire, and it's going to be down to who uses that better. Fusion have the advantage though because they can pretty much use it now, where Boston have to wait for mistakes or just use the Tire blind.
Big job for him. Mistakes now gets to play in a few different angles, but his position is revealed at least, and gonna let him know.
Wow. How did no one notice him going that way?
Gonna let him know that he's noticed.
It's like Striker's probably saying, somebody broke my trap. Quick, be careful of... I'm already dead.
And I think you can trust Carpe. I mean, right now, shooting 52% scoped accuracy, 20% crit. On Lijiang Tower, he was up near 60% scoped and 33% crit. So shooting really well right now. That's going to be both supports down with a rip tire.
I don't like the use of that tire.
52% scoped accuracy, 20%
Look, they're already sort of
crit.
backing off here.
He was up near 60% scoped.
Sadow's already backed off. This tire will...
right now, that's going to be both supports down with a rip tire. Nobody there to...
When you do this sort of thing, you see them trying to chase them up here, right? When you use an ultimate to win a fight, you want to not kill everyone with the ultimate. So what happens here is EQO uses Tire, gets both healers. The fight is definitely lost. They already lost Carpe, and now they've lost... Oh, sorry, not Carpe. That was mistakes that got taken out. So they've lost both their healers. So fight is lost, they have to back up. But they weren't in a position that they could follow up on that. And now, they just back away. And you didn't get any ultimate charge for that fight. You don't have ult charge because you have... I've mixed my head around here. Carpe was alive. Mistakes was attacking Fusion and then died for EQO. Got it. I don't know why I was so confusing myself. Anyway, you kill people here, you don't get ult charge. So like these people needed to kill these guys to get the ult charge, but because they had their abilities on cooldown and they weren't followed up into this spot, because Sado was back here running the F away and Hobba was trying to keep Sado alive, these guys all got out. And yeah, it's not something you want.
Nobody there to take out the tire. You had the infosight up as well, so you're able to get a good look at where you're going to land that.
Well-placed rip tire is akin to a real pressure valve in a lot of these fights, right?
So you use Tire generally when the fight has already just begun, so that they can't back out. They've used all their abilities, then you kill them.
You know, so you to remove the position the opponent.
A Tire. I see this with the Shanghai Fuel game. You can see that the bad teams are using tires in the wrong way because Shanghai used the tire. Granted, it died every single time he used it, but on King's Row, every time they used it, Dallas just backed away, and then once the tire was gone, then they moved in. So really, killing the tire there... killing someone with a tire in that position, you can't follow up on the damage, so you don't get ult charge for it. You get 10 seconds. Roughly 10 seconds, 15 seconds maybe for the walk.
Ultimately from the game, it's a fight over and you can take a breath.
So it's not really worth it a lot of the time.
Position, you can use that as a catch-all.
And it's also,
Ultimate's looking in favor of the Uprising. They've used sights, so Striker's most likely going to tire now. And then they'll push in. If they get 2 or more with the tire, they will probably not use any more ults. But if they don't, they're probably going to have to use a Mercy Valk to secure the fight, or a Diva Bomb just to get some space.
We kind of like, Junkrat's such a great offensive hero. I mean, he is in the defense hero category, his ultimate. You could kind of look at it, right? You could just stall for time with it. Obviously, if it's pretty close to guarantee at least 1 kill if you place it right.
Defense hero Junkrat now for Boston Uprising on the attack. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Propagate my narrative. Striker only
Oi.
on the tire. It's enough to get Carpe. I mean, he could have destroyed the tire, right? He might have missed
So
the shot
they might
by
use
because
Valk
he would have had maybe
and
a second or so
Bomb
of-
here.
would notice it was coming around the corner at him. So Sato now has to use this Primal Rage to stay in the fight, but with EQO down, that's both damage support sources of the Philadelphia Fusion.
Philly will have to use Trance. They
EQO back, Striker now being removed. Boombox always with
Yeah,
a critical
there's no way they could win that fight without Trance, and they need to win this fight.
Force Carpe out of position, and Gamsu wants to try and do the same.
Forces
Displace
Uprising to
the
use
Fusion.
theirs in
Not exactly sure
kind.
Sato wanted to use that primal rage at the beginning. It looked like
Now, the longer this fight drives on, the better it is for Uprising because they have the Fusion. Longer it drives on, the better it is for Fusion because Fusion have the defensive advantage, and their respawns are closer.
Sato was going to go for a res on the carpet,
So-
and then they decided not to. They doubled back, and to stay alive because the mercy wasn't there, Sato was forced to use primal rage.
Great recovery here from the Philadelphia Fusion. Although
See, look at that
mistakes
sniping.
still making
Beautiful
them sweat by
sniper.
finding Carpe's. Mistakes is
EQO, best sniper on
very good
Junkrat.
window performance right now. Carpe's only had one final blow on this map. Mistakes with 5. So Boston are actually outdoing.
Swapped off the Junkrat onto the Tracer. Looks like it's a last ditch sort of thing. So Striker will most likely be touching the point first, so he can stall it out, and that's why they're swapping to him. EQO coming up to Tire. They've just finished using Sight, so that's not going to be useful to them. They'll probably have Primal, and that's it. They'll probably use Tire, Primal, and Bomb this fight.
Miss old Carpe.
Boombox.
I tell you what, though,
Boombox will
Sato
get
has put
Trance.
together a very good debut.
This looks heavily in
Get
favor of
Gamsu
Fusion to
by,
hold
who
here.
We consider Gamsu to be, towards the top in terms of main tanks in the league.
Now, this is a time where getting a pick is very good. So using the Tire here, not to actually get ult charge, but to just kill someone before the fight even begins. Because now time is actually important. 30 seconds is a very important time.
Played in some positions being too aggressive and getting caught out early.
This is huge, man.
Clearing the space for Widowmaker up the top there, trying to give Mistakes a sightline on Carpe.
They really don't have much to work with. Couple sticks to rub together.
Where the hell's Carpe doing down there?
Good
rotation from Fusion.
Through at the last moment. Carpe sees projectiles fired off towards his right, realizes that was a Caduceus blaster or perhaps orbs.
Oh, no way.
Pulls the trigger a little bit early. Carpe flanks around the side, mistakes.
No way. That's greedy.
Now he's down. Sato gets in there with the primal rage, and Striker is going to be zoned off for this payload himself.
And Carpe's in a great spot. Yeah.
Suspended in midair. It's an easy pick off for Carpe
That's
now.
just...
And Striker trying to zip through. It won't be enough.
Carpe was in the attacker's spot.
Compared to what we normally see on Dorado, I'm really glad that it's back, by the way. I always enjoy Dorado. That's a very good defensive attempt from Philly. We see a lot of teams that sort of manage to finish this one out. But good still from Sato there. They lost Carpe in that fight map. Sato does pop that primal rage to try and facilitate for that important resurrect to get EQO back in the fight.
In both teams, both tanks for Philadelphia Fusion here only die once. Do a tremendous job just staying alive. So he jumps right over the top, just gets right on mistakes, just pressuring him out.
I gotta get
So
some of
many
those.
problems, and
Just
I think the one downside
all my
that
ham
was
up.
for Philadelphia, well, it wasn't really a downside, right? It was just kind of like their overall play
Yeah,
style
nice
was
and
for Fraggy to almost
keep
give
my
him his
hands
life to
warm.
create that space,
Ah.
let Carpe and EQO or Shadowburn.
Yeah, you guys got
whatever DPS
scrims.
players they had, just start to get going.
I'll
Now you're
finish
seeing
this
some
up and then I'll come
space,
watch.
but then also
Make
seeing
sure
now
Rohan's
you're
recording.
seeing how
Rohan?
well that comboed with their great DPS players, so the talent on support they have, you're starting to see that all come together. And I still think you can play, Fraggy in Poco and those Ryan Zarya maps, and those guys are just sick at those heroes.
I believe the last time we saw Hotbar play was on Eichenwalde against Shanghai Dragons in Stage 2. I believe.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that went to 5 maps, that series itself, in which Hotbar played a lot of it. And we didn't really get to see a whole lot of what he could display, even though he's had a lot of game time. He didn't have a stellar performance. So he's looking a lot better so far today. I mean, he's shown us his Zarya is very, very solid. We saw that in Lijiang Tower as well.
Boston running bunker
Philadelphia
comp
not
from the
only
looks
have
of it.
width in terms of their players and also the Fraggy's shoulders, but also depth in terms of those hero pools.
Now, remember, this is a team that wasn't here for the preseason, right? And everyone was joking around like, oh, they're not going to be very good and
this is the
whatnot.
team that didn't show up to the preseason against the team who everyone thought would be the worst in the league. So funny how things change.
Right.
Reality is
How
like a transient concept, Matt.
Funny how fast the narrative can change.
Oh.
You know?
3, 2,
Better teams in the
1.
league right now.
Running full dive into bunker comp. So I've already explained the bunker comp. They're set up here. Same rules apply as the King Rose bunker comp. This isn't normally the spot you set up. I imagine they're sitting here because the Mistakes gets the good sight lines. Then they'll back off down into this spot here. Philadelphia's win condition here, because this comp is built to try and counter dive, but this was made before Brigida existed, so I do like the Fusions one better, where they have the Brigida instead of the Diva, because you're going to be on the ground. If you stayed up here, that'd be fine. Note is most likely going to drop down to contest the payload, and then when he runs low on health, flies back up. Fusion need to get up here safely. So Carpe, you can't see him on screen right now. It's probably going all the way around the long way to the back. They'll have Junkrat traps there. They'll be looking there. But Carpe needs to get up here so they can just have a well-executed dive onto this and not get hit by any of the Junkrat accessories or cooldowns.
Carpe. And admonishing slap to start off. EQO take a bit of damage as well. You can see Striker's already 24%.
So he's coming around this way to come up the top here.
And also Boston's regular season win streak on the line, right? I mean, they did end up losing the Stage 3 finals, but they go undefeated.
15, right?
Yeah.
16?
Yeah, it's like 14 or 15 games. I believe 14 games.
And then, of course, they had the playoff matches, yeah.
Tracer's gone a very long way around the back.
Right?
Yeah.
16?
Yeah, it's like 14 or 15 games. I believe 14
Where is he?
games.
There he is.
And then, of course, they had the playoff
He's
matches.
very far behind, and Genji's over there. So they're setting up their position for the dive.
But that's not a regular season game, so he's still considered it.
Mistakes is sitting in this room here because he knows that because of the Genji, this is not a safe place. You've got the wall flank here that EQO can jump over and then dash into the Widowmaker. So he's set up in a safer position. However, this is not standard positioning. So this is this could be dangerous for Mistakes. But look, you can see him aiming up there. He's waiting for the Genji. Dive onto the Widowmaker. Really, really bad location to counter dive into. So the Fusion dive into here and then can block the door so that any Note trying to get in can't get in. Striker can't get in. No one can get in here.
This Boston Uprising team throughout the stage.
They cheated themselves out of a spot in the playoffs last stage. Those very, very sloppy plays, but EQO, sharpest attack there. All they had to do, go in and get Mistakes. Now, he does have to leave after that as he's being chased out. So
Fusion just really good at dive. Absurdly good at dive. When you have a Genji as good as EQO, you have a Tracer who's good as Carpe. I would say these guys are great tanks, but I don't know that well. They've been doing really well today, though, so good on them. Neptuno is possibly the most aggressive Mercy in the game. I don't mean in Overwatch League, I mean in the game. Even all those battle Mercies that you play with on ladder, he's more aggressive.
Now it's a very obvious animation when he's deflecting. Look at that. First point take very early on by the Fusion now, and there's snowball potential here, Matt. Gamsu having to switch over to the Winston means that he's opposite.
So they're not holding up. They want their ultimates. They want to force these guys back. They want their ultimates and they want picks.
Kellex is close to that Valkyrie because there's been a lot of healing done.
And look what it got them. Almost everyone's got their ultimate for next fight. And Mistakes has got his. They've had to swap off the Orisa here. Note can stay on though. Fusion looking good.
Primal Rage. Dragon Blade close. Carpe's Pulse Bomb. Not getting anything done.
It's Philadelphia tried to push up there.
But now they've lost their position. Now they've lost their space. They're going to be pushed back past the choke.
Doesn't
House
work
money
out.
there, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you know some changes are coming through for Boston, you can play around that. Carpe will switch off of Tracer, play Widowmaker here towards the second part of the game, second stage of the map.
So EQO, I'm not sure if EQO is comparable to Shadowburn in how he likes to use his blade. Shadowburn is super patient with his blade. He will hold them for multiple fights, waiting for the Zenyatta trance. I'm not sure how EQO goes because a lot of Genjis will use use Blade to get trance out and then just dash back out. And it's a worthwhile trade. Trance is a much better ultimate than Blade is.
No, Tracer's not super effective on offense because it's hard to get over towards that high ground. You're really...
Carpe swapped off Tracer, which is fair because this is, as I just realized Mr. X is saying, this is very hard to get to. It's a very hard place for Tracer to get to. So having the Widowmaker up here, over here, coming down into here, less so. But these positions here for Widowmaker, that's really good location for her to be, to deny this high ground.
Winston or going on these like long flanks as Tracer to make something happen. So you like the Widow switch here.
Sato challenged Note to a tickle fight. He did not acquiesce, instead going up to the high ground again. See a lot of dropping up and down from the...
Carpe, bad mistake.
Mistakes hooks him in.
Okay, Primal Rage is being used now. Primal Rage has to be traded for an ultimate here.
It's a fishtail if I've ever...
Wait, if we go back.
He did not acquiesce, instead going up to the high ground
Does
again.
he get...
See a lot of dropping up and down.
Okay, so they trade Valks for Valks.
Oh, that's nice there. Carpe is missing in action. Mistakes hooks him.
Sato, Primal Rages here, needs to try and get Boombox to ult.
There you go, read it. Done it. Now he does have an infrasight, so this is kind of good. So the Philadelphia Fusion likely at this point, if they don't win this fight, will try something a bit different. So an infrasight mid-fight or even at the end of it for mistakes could prove...
Sato's...
If he uses
Nice movement there.
Match against Carpe's, which is quite common, he'll be waiting a while. Defending Widows quite often go for only an infrasight when their opposition uses it. That's a big shot.
And I think Philly stays on this comp pitch. I think you have Dragon Blade. You know
Nice
that
work there by
Dragon Blade
Striker
can
and
force out that
mistakes.
Transcendence, or if Carpe lands a shot onto Neko.
This was a this was a poor primal usage. Like, well, it wasn't poor primal usage. It just didn't get what they needed it to get. That primal needed to get trance out so they could use Blade. Now that they can't do that, they're most likely going to have to Blade solely for the purpose of getting trance out so that they can then trance themselves. However, they're coming up to their own primal to do the same to Boombox.
Go.
Is
So
there anything wrong with this comp? Like,
No, I mean, fundamentally from Philadelphia, I mean, they can kind of cover all grounds, right? I think they have the payload in a position where they can go on this flank. You see kind of their outline where they're going on. Yeah. You can maybe just jump onto one of the supports rather quickly. So now they started to double back though.
full spot for Striker. Carpe's
Talking quietly, like we're at a golf tournament.
Chance here to do a lot with it. Mistake still holding that.
Good stick. Great stick. End of push.
Tough to recover from your resurrector being unresurrectable. Yes.
Just end of push straight there. Beautiful work.
So making sure he'll know at all times where Carpe's coming from. Wants to make sure he can keep things even, Stevens.
It's actually a huge pulse bump from Striker because you had EQO on the flank solo, and he was going to find Neko alone up on the bridge, up on the high.
Sights. Mistakes will most likely use his sights in return. Kelix has... Oh, yeah, because Neptuno died. It's all really it's all about if they can get not Boombox, sorry, if they can get Neko to trance. If they can't get Neko to trance before they use Dragon Blade, I think Uprising will just be able to out-sustain Fusion.
High ground, which has, if EQO dives onto him up on that high ground, he's alone, he's using that.
Especially since they have both tank ults up.
A pretty big pulse bomb in the grand scheme of things there from Striker.
You see that though? Mistakes responding with his own infrasight after Carpe used it means that straight away Gamsu can respond when he feels like Carpe's getting a bit too big for his boots or peeking too far forward to try and find a mercy or something similar. EQO eyeing off his prey here. Again, removing the
Oi, EQO, rookie mistake. Sees mistakes.
Looking for glory. Gonna drop down now. Mistakes.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah,
that was beautiful. That was... This is stupid. Let's just... Before I start talking about how good this guy is...
EQO eyeing off his prey here.
Walks into a Diva Bomb. That's how good this guy is. Sees mistakes, knows that mistakes can't get to Neko in time for the trance.
Looking for glory. Gonna drop down.
Because he has the damage boost, he can slash dash combo.
Oh, he's caught midway through.
Trance doesn't mean jack.
Gets the dash at just the right time, and that's 2 down.
Uses their own trance to sort of...
Mercy out.
Wait, did he
Looking
use
for
it
glory.
to...
Drop down now, mistakes.
No, he didn't.
Oh,
Boombox
he's
was getting
caught midway
focused.
through. Gets the dash at just the right time, and that's 2 down. Mercy and Widow removed. You can't ask for much more than that. Now EQO's going to be more than happy just to field Gamsu's requests to play on the jungle gym. Gamsu just getting bumped
Beautiful.
around himself. It could be all over here for the Boston Uprising, Matt. Striker Pulse Bomb doesn't connect. Be disappointed with that one.
So they weren't waiting for the trance to come out. What they were waiting for is for for mistakes to be in a bad position that they can capitalize on with Blade.
Yes, you won. Yes, you did.
You can be happy.
That was awesome.
Philadelphia Fusion there, looking
Yeah, Fusion
far
just
more dimensions added
outclassed
to them than
Boston.
in last stage. That depth
There were many times that
really
Boston
started
could
to
have
show
come
through
back
the
and they
different
just made
lineup
these
that performs
really simple errors that
Yes, Sato and Hotba come in game number 2, and they roll through game number 2.
I don't like the stubbornness of their team comps. They really need to learn to be a bit more flexible. But apart from that, that was really good.
More importantly, the season playoff.
Alright. I have to go watch my team now. Who are like playing right now. Awesome. So I will catch you all dudes later. And see you next time.